All right, welcome back. Here at 6:39, we continue to follow that magnesium factory fire. It is still growing this morning.
Yeah, this is in Dixmoor at 139th and Sealy Avenue. Let's get right to NBC5's Jen Shantz. She just arrived on the scene. And Jen, at last check, no one was hurt. But what are you learning?
Well, that's the information we have right now from fire officials. The Posen Fire Department, Lisa and Evrod, does tell us that their reports indicate no one was inside this building when these explosions started happening, so no one is hurt, according to them. That is the good news. Crews are still working on this fire. You can see emergency vehicles behind me here. The building in question is actually over my shoulder. You can't quite see the magnesium factory behind me. It's actually on the other side of this maroon utility shed. But our crews were here earlier this morning when they both heard and saw explosions from inside that building, which is believed to be a total loss right now. Magnesium, of course, is a combustible metal, so that's added to this hazmat situation. This is what the Posen Fire Department told us earlier this morning. Take a listen.
We're working the best that we can. It's in a tricky area trying to get vehicles in and around. We pretty much have it contained at this point as best as we can.
Now, this fire, as far as we can tell, started this morning around 5:30. The cause of this fire is still unclear. But again, there was visible explosions and you could hear and you could see them. Our crews were here on scene. And as we've been mentioning this morning, I heard Alicia mention it as well. It is windy, so that is a concern not only for fire crews, but we are near a mobile home park. I'm looking at several residences right now, so people in this area and people who live here, that might also be a concern as this smoke travels. Again, crews are still on scene. This is an active investigation. We're going to be working to figure out what caused this fire and to make sure crews have a handle on the situation now. From what I can tell, the flames are no longer visible, but smoke is going to be an issue today. So we'll have another live report coming up in about 20 minutes here. For now, we're live in Dixmoor. Jen Shantz, NBC5 News.
All right, Jen, thank you. We'll check in with you in just a little bit. We continue to follow this developing story, a large factory fire in the south suburbs. We have been watching the situation for you all morning long. Things appear to be under control now, but this was the situation from earlier this morning. I want to bring in NBC5's Jen Shantz. She joins us now live with the latest details on the investigation. Jen?
Good afternoon, Evrod. The cause of that fire still under investigation at this hour, but as you know, it burned for several hours overnight, and crews are still battling hot spots. You can see smoke still billowing from inside the magnesium casting factory right over my shoulder here. We're on the border of Dixmoor and Blue Island in the south suburbs. Now, the ATF and the state fire marshal are on scene helping fire officials investigate the cause of this fire. We want to show you what it looked like earlier this morning. Initially, crews had a bit of a challenge getting to this facility because it does sit back a little bit from the other buildings in this area. Our crews saw and heard explosions from inside the factory's main building, which is a total loss. That is where this fire started. The roof fully caved in. The Posen fire chief says thankfully the fire did not spread to other buildings or businesses, but because this is a functioning factory, the question of job loss this afternoon. Will people be out of work? We've reached out to the company on that. The fire chief says the factory did have some government work being done. He tells me the owners are on scene. They're speaking with officials. The factory also happens to be just feet from a mobile home park.
The wind was in our favor last night. It wasn't going towards a trailer park here because we got like 100 trailers here. It was going in the opposite direction, so that saved us from having to evacuate the trailer park.
The fire chief says chemicals inside, including magnesium, which react with water, made the work for his crews more challenging.
We had quite a few different explosions that were happening during the building from that chemical reaction. Like I said, we were able to contain it, but that was one of the big issues. We had quite a few different issues with 55-gallon drums of chemicals.
Now, because of the chemicals inside the facility, the EPA is here monitoring not only for air quality, Evrod, but also for runoff. The EPA just informed us that they have 3 air monitoring sites set up in and around this area. And the good news is so far they have not detected any readings out of the ordinary. Both the ATF, The EPA and the state fire marshal will remain on scene throughout this afternoon as this investigation is far from over. The good news, though, the fire, although you see the smoke behind me, the flames do appear to be under control. We're live right at the corner of Dixmoor and Blue Island here in the south suburbs. Jen Shantz, NBC 5 News.
Monitoring the situation for us all morning long. Jen, thank you so much.
Right now, we want to tell you about cleanup that's beginning after a huge fire destroyed a magnesium plant in the south suburbs overnight. The flames were huge, and at times, explosions could be heard. The fire started just before midnight at Chicago Magnesium. That's near the border of Blue Island and Dixmoor. NBC5's V. Nguyen is live for us at the scene. She's got the latest developments. V.
Marion, investigators with several agencies, including the ATF and the state fire marshal, they have been out here all afternoon trying to figure out what started this fire. If you take a look, you can see the roof to this building here collapse. The factory has been around since the 50s, making cast models. Neighbors telling me they woke up to what sounded like explosions overnight. New drone video shows what's left at Chicago Magnesium in Blue Island near Dixmoor. The main building at the industrial factory now considered a total loss.
I just seen the fire trucks, ambulance, everything in front of in back of my house. Yeah, when I found out it was Chicago Magnesium, I said, that's my place I used to work at.
The Posen fire chief says the situation escalated quickly given the magnitude of the chemicals on site. More than 70 firefighters from 12 departments responded.
We had to take in consideration the magnesium and also there's a bunch of 55-gallon drums with chemicals, trying to determine what we had in there. Magnesium reacts with water, so that makes it a challenge. It makes it difficult fighting with water. And like I said, the other main challenge was just getting back to where we had to get water to put the fire out.
Explosions could be heard overnight as firefighters try to get the situation under control and prevent the flames from spreading to neighboring buildings and homes.
The wind was in our favor last night. It wasn't going towards a trailer park here because we got like 100 trailers here. It was going in the opposite direction, so that saved us from having to evacuate the trailer park.
Dixmoor Village President Fitzgerald Roberts praising the efforts of firefighters despite experiencing minor delays to get to the scene.
Unfortunately, last night it took a while for our fire department to get back here to put this fire out at Chicago Magnesium due to the train track being blocked on Roby.
The fire chief tells NBC5 it didn't affect their initial response times. Meanwhile, village crews now left dealing with a water main break right across the street. The village president blaming the break on the aging infrastructure.
We had all 3 fire hydrants going, so when they shut the fire hydrants down, the pressure built up and popped the line. It's like a hammer effect. So what we're doing now, we have M&J Plumbing. They're over there and they're repairing the pipe.
Officials just fortunate that no one was hurt.
It could have been much worse, but I thank God that it wasn't.
So the EPA was out here earlier monitoring the air quality and testing the samples from the runoff behind the building. But so far at this time, nothing alarming or concerning that would prompt an evacuation of this area. Reporting in Dixmoor, V. Nguyen, NBC5 News.
All right, thanks for that reporting, V.